I am delighted to introduce His Excellency Xi Jinping, President of the People's Republic of China.
Your Excellency Secretary General Antonio Guterres, Your Excellency President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, colleagues, this year marks the 10th anniversary of the Paris Agreement, a pivotal year for countries to submit their new nationally determined contributions. Global climate governance is entering a key stage. I wish to share with you 3 points. First, we must firm up confidence. Green and low-carbon transition is the trend of our time. While some country is acting against it, the international community should stay focused on the right direction.
I wonder if that's a direct dig at the US Trump administration there for pulling out of the Paris Agreement. But this is for like anyone who's all of those arguments, those right-wing Australian right-wing arguments on like the IPA and all that sort of stuff that are like, why is Australia moving forward when, China isn't even going on with any targets? Then, okay, if China wasn't going towards net zero themselves, then why the hell is Xi Jinping talking about climate goals here? Like, it's just that argument I've just had to debate so many times. China has a 2060 target, and the reason why they're still using a shite ton of coal at the moment is because they're manufacturing a shite ton of renewable resource, manufacturing and stuff like that. So like they've planned to, I think, peak at, I want to say 2030, and then ramping down. But from what I've read is that they're sort of already going to start, they're going to be peaking. They're going to peak earlier and then be able to basically start transitioning earlier too. So
remain unwavering in confidence, unremitting in actions, and unrelenting in intensity, and push for formulation and delivery on NDCs, with a view to providing more positive energy to the cooperation on global climate governance. Second, we must live up to responsibilities. In the course of global green transition, fairness and equity should be upheld, and the right to development of developing countries fully respected.
So this is what I was talking before about what he just said then about developing countries. Like if you're a modern advanced economy, which Australia is, you have a higher duty to pay than those who are in developing countries. Okay? Australia is in a position to take advantage of the fact that we have an abundant resource industry, and when it comes to renewables, we can become leaders in renewable technology and all that. So I don't understand why like Australia could literally benefit greatly economically just from the switch to net zero, or the switch to renewables, if everyone was on board and it was a smooth transition and everyone took advantage of it. I think there is a lot to be gained here for Australia. And there are, like when the globe starts going towards the net zero targets, I think Australia has a higher and more ambitious targets. But that's just showing that our current government is going to be ambitious towards these goals too, which I think is fine at this point anyway.
The transition should serve to narrow rather than widen the north-south gap. Countries need to honor the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities, whereby developed countries should take the lead in fulfilling emission reduction obligations and provide more financial and technological support to developing countries.
Exactly. That's 100%. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Xi Jinping. Okay, I swear I'm not, I know I've been called like, what do you call it? Like a Chinese propagandist before about some of the videos I've made. But like, this is exactly what I was talking about. Like, Australia is one of these countries that can take the lead, and actually, if we do it and we do it right, it'll play out really, really well for Australia in the future.
Third, we must deepen cooperation. The world now faces a huge demand for green development. It is important that countries strengthen international coordination in green technologies and industries to address the shortfall in green production capacity and ensure free flow of quality green products globally, so that the
Yes.
benefits of green development can reach all corners of the world.
And so we have like extensive trade agreements with China, South Korea, and Japan, where, if we can actually meet our targets quicker and all that sort of stuff, we can together, we can offset a lot of the carbon emissions and stuff like that. So like so far, the fact that like the Americans and other right wing kind of commentators always say that China isn't serious about net zero and why should we and that sort of stuff, like this is speaking directly to that. But I bet you none of them will watch this or have any sort of comment, or they'll just say they're lying or something like that. I'll be interested to hear what the right wing response to this. Well, when I say right wing, I meant strictly in Australia, where they're very opposed, or they're starting to oppose net zero quite strongly.
Colleagues, let me take this opportunity to announce China's new NDCs as follows. China will, by 2035, reduce economy-wide net greenhouse gas emissions by 7% to 10% from peak levels, striving to do better. Increase the share of non-fossil fuels in total energy consumption to
So that's what I was like. What they said in 2035, it was going to be 7% reduction down. Now they're doing 10% reduction. That's what I was saying before about. I think they're reaching their peak emissions. Their peak emissions were going to be in 2030, I think. And then I read that they were reaching them earlier. So now, instead of being 7% in 2035, it can be 10% now in 2035.
over 30%. Expand the installed capacity of wind and solar power to over 6 times the 2020 levels, striving to bring the total to 3,600 gigawatts. Scale up the total forest stock volume to over 24 billion cubic meters. Make new energy vehicles the mainstream in the sales of new vehicles. Expand the national carbon emissions trading market to cover major high-emission sectors.
Yeah, so Australia's doing that too, which I wonder if you're going to be able to trade those clean credits, or whatever they end up calling them. So basically, if you're a business or whatever in industries, if you cut your emissions by sufficiently enough, you'll end up getting credits or credit units, what do they end up calling them? And then you can trade those credits on the market, and they're kind of talking about so that way when you have got your big emissions sectors, or like resource, like the resource industry and stuff like that, they can use those credits to basically offset their emissions. So that might be for like gas and other resource mining or transport and stuff like that.
And basically establish a climate adaptive society. These targets represent China's best efforts based on the requirements of the Paris Agreement. Meeting these targets requires both painstaking efforts by China itself and a supportive and open international environment. We have the resolve and confidence to deliver on our commitments. Colleagues, great visions require concrete actions. Climate response is an urgent yet long-term task. Let's all step up our actions to realize the beautiful vision of harmony between man and nature and preserve planet Earth, the place we call home. Thank you.
Well, there you go. I think it's kind of like that's a very, very interesting point from China there, and I guess that kind of battles a lot of the sort of shit that other sort of commentators are saying about China not being serious about their emissions. To me, it kind of sounds like they're going to be doing quite a lot, and I think they're like rapidly going to decrease their emissions too. They are global leaders in renewable manufacturing, so it'd be interesting to see how they play out. But yeah,